What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Talk Jets Radio, the Fan Series edition. This is your host, Tyson Roush, and this is all about the fans, talking about the past Jets, the current Jets, the future Jets, everything all about it. You can follow the show on Spreaker, YouTube, Instagram, all kinds of stuff. And you have a special treat. You're probably going to hear lawnmowers today. You're probably going to hear the Ice Cream Man and all kinds of other stuff. So let me introduce Tim Flaherty. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, boss? Yeah, I'll add my dog in there, probably the neighborhood garbage man, since we do different schedules these days, so add that to the noise level.
Oh, yeah, dude, I got all kinds of shit going on here, man. I don't know what's going on. It's like every person on the man's out and about today. So Tim, let's start from the beginning, man. What the hell made you a Jets fan?
So it's kind of one of your classic stories. I grew up, so I live in Baltimore, Maryland now. I grew up in a small town right outside of Albany, New York. So, a lot of pretty much Giants, Jets, a few, rogue Buffalo fans up there. Somebody, I can't for the life of me remember who it is, gave me one of those classic kind of one-sided footballs with the white and the Jets logo on it. I couldn't have been any older than 4 or 5. That thing stuck around in my hand in the yard for a lot of years until I got old enough to make a decision, and then it just kind of went from there. It's just your classic, somebody put it in my hand, and that's how we went. It makes no sense either because my dad's a Bengals fan from Cincinnati. My uncle's a Ravens fan. There's no Jets fans in the family. I'm a lone ranger there.
So what are some of your favorite memories about this team?
My best memory, I'll say, at least from a game perspective, it certainly isn't a playoff win or anything like that. We didn't even win, but it was actually the first time I was able to get to MetLife, get to go to a Jets game. I went to the 15th anniversary game of 9/11, 2016, when we played the Bengals. I just thought the stadium was electric. The day couldn't have been any more gorgeous for a September day in upstate, New Jersey. The flags, the patriotism. That's probably my favorite game. But just growing up, I was a huge Chad Pennington fan, a huge Curtis Martin fan. I got yelled at by my mom, I think my dad probably too, because I wore my Curtis Martin jersey under my cap and gown at my college graduation. So, that didn't go too hot. But, it's just I've been following them throughout the years. I finally got to get around to watching them on the Hard Knocks series. I never watched them all those years on HBO, and that was kind of a teaser, but that was a little fun to do. So, yeah, man, it's been a lot of good years. I enjoy it, the ups and the downs. So
when somebody says, what's it like being a Jets fan, what would you say?
I'd say you have your guard up a lot. People love to ask the question. Like I said, I live in Baltimore. I live 5-6 blocks from M&T Bank Stadium. Ravens aren't doing too bad these days, so I'm on the defense a lot with a lot of crap that people like to throw at me. So I just think I'd have to say, be on the defense. Some of our best teams in the past few years were led by defense, so you got to follow suit with that.
The Jets never win down there either, it doesn't seem like.
No, they actually. I had a good watch party. Was 4 years ago when they played the Ravens. They were at home, so that was good. Last year I was front and center with 9-10 Ravens guys for that Thursday night game. I was right in the pocket when Sam made that throw to Crowder after he dropped that easy one. That never got any love, but if somebody else would have thrown it, they would have shown it 100 times in ESPN. But I got to see that front and center, so that was cool.
So who would you consider your favorite player as of now, or some of your favorite players as of now for this team?
As of now, so I'm a total sucker for Marcus May. I love him. I just always have. So Jamal does what he's supposed to do. He's great. Obviously, talent-wise, we won't even talk about that. But just, he's the camera guy. He likes to talk. He likes to do everything. I'm a big kind of silent and down and dirty guy. And I just think Marcus May healthy is that type of dude. So I've always been a Marcus May guy. My favorite player right now to watch, and I can't wait for this year, is Herndon. I played tight end growing up. I think that it's a key position in the NFL. It's one of those ones that's completely changed from blocking, maybe catch a couple in the flats, to being a premier offensive threat type position. And I think he can do a little bit of both. Him and Griffin could be fun together, I believe. So I'd have to say Herndon.
So with the drafting of Ashton Davis, what are your thoughts on Marcus May? Do you think it's like his last year here, or do you think they can keep all three? How do you think that's going to work out?
Yeah, So I'll be honest with you, I didn't know a ton about Ashton Davis. I do a lot of over-the-top draft homework. I like to think I know a little bit what I'm talking about. I didn't know a ton about him. I certainly didn't have safety on the Jets' radar in the third round. So that would be the reason why I didn't. Yeah. So let's just put it that way. My jaw kind of was like, what the? My girlfriend was watching it with me. I'm like, I'm sure he's got to be decent. I trust Joe what he's doing, but I wouldn't have suspected a safety at pick 68, whatever. Yeah, 68 I think it was. But no, I mean, here's the thing. I just don't think that May is going to be able to stay. I mean, how could you? I don't know. How could you pay both of them? I mean, we have like 10. I think there's 10 people on the team that's making more this year in 2020 than Jamal Adams is, and he knows that. He knows how much everybody else is getting paid. The Bears did us no favors with that contract, Eddie Jackson. I mean, something's got to give. You know what I mean? You can't pay everyone, and unfortunately, I think he might be. If he stays healthy, I think he might be just trade bait, and it's unfortunate, but can't keep them all.
So would you give Jamal Adams that monster contract? You know it's coming to that now, man. He has an coming up for all-pro season. He wants it. He deserves it. Do you give it to him?
So, at the risk of just being probably alienated, I don't know what the maths are. I have to see the number, but you know that the number for Jackson will start with is $19 million or something like that. You can't do that. You can't give safety $21 million with whatever crazy amount of money guaranteed.
What if you give him like $16 or $17 million a year? Would you give him that?
$16, $17 million a year makes more sense to me, but it's just not. I don't think there's any way that he's going to take anything less than the highest paid at his position, one of the highest paid defensive players in the league. I mean, you see what everybody else does on offense, how they consider themselves both a wide receiver and a tight end or a running back and whatever. I mean, he's got what is he ranked like top? I think outside of an edge rusher, like he was the number one pressure, number one in sacks last year. He's going to consider himself want to get paid for multi-position, so I just don't see how he can do that. I love him. I don't want to get rid of him.
But why couldn't they do that? I mean, if you look at it, they don't have a lot of guys to pay. It's just him and Sam. I mean, salary cap's not going to be an issue. I mean, if they really want to pay him and keep him, they can, man. And it's, like he's more than the safety. It's like I think if they really want to keep him, they could.
No, and that's the thing. I'd have to. The problem is this: is the way. It's not a problem. It's just a factor. The way Douglas did his offseason, there was a ton of one-year deals, right? A lot of positions that are going to have to get filled by somebody else. Now, you hope for a lot of them to be with draft picks that can be cheap, for the 3, 4, 5 years you have them before they got to sign a new deal. But there's just so many holes that I just think have to be filled again and again. And eventually you got to start sealing it with long-term guys that are going to have to get paid a decent dollar. So I just think, if you do a huge analysis of it, you got to take a look at it. Put it this way, I hope they do. I really hope they work it out. I hope he sees the value in staying with the Jets and will pay attention to the dollar. But there's somebody who's, I just feel like, going to throw an enormous amount at him that we're not going to be able to match. Sort of what we did to the Ravens with Mosley.
Yeah, see, I think, the Jets have him under contract for the next 2 years. They have all the leverage in the world. I think they can get it done if they want to. And then in terms of the draft, I mean, you look at it, the one-year contracts I agree with, but you have guys like Bryce Hall could replace somebody next year. Maybe Ashton Davis replaces Marcus May. Well, maybe Bell will be gone. Henry Anderson will be gone. Like, Williamson Winters will be gone. Like, they're going to have so much cap space next year, dude. Like, I just think the matter is if you want to keep them, you can, and then you just go from there. But then you look at it, and it's like with the rest of the defense. Like, how do you feel about this defense that's been kind of revamped? Do you feel comfortable with these corners? Do you feel comfortable with the pass rush?
Well, so that's the thing. See, I think that these corners, the way that they play, it helps pick up for the pass rush. But with the pass rush, it's the same. It's kind of the same story. We brought back Jenkins. I'm very excited about that. I'm a big fan of his. What's he making, like 1 year, $5 million or something this year? Something
3.5 million, dude. It's even cheaper than that.
Yeah. So if he gets his 7-8 sacks, and he plays way beyond his dollar value, that's great. The thing is the corners. The way it's set up again is Poole is at least playing for another deal. You got, Desir. I'm probably not pronouncing his name right. Desir. Who at one point was was signed for like a $23 million deal or something with the Colts. So I'm confident with it. I think that the way that Greg Williams' defense is that it sets everybody else up to kind of pick everybody else up. Meaning the corner's going to help step up and tackle, so the people can actually go and get after the quarterback. It's not their sole job to keep in track of the ball carrier. Problem is, it does set you up for some of those big burner plays that you give up that you're like, yeesh. But I'm excited about the defense. I really am. I actually think it's one of the things that's underrated and kind of undernoticed, but that's with anything with the Jets. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, like C.J. Mosley coming back is going to be a big boost. I mean, they have potential to be, as good as last year, maybe a little better because the corners should be better in theory. They have better depth as well. But what do you think about the offense? They rebuilt the offensive line in theory. They added some pieces at wide receiver in theory. What's your level of comfort of the additions in free agency in the draft?
Well, so I'll just say this because if I would be lying if I didn't. I totally know and knew that we needed a left tackle. I knew that we needed an offensive lineman. Anybody who watched the Jets know that. If you've even watched a little bit of football, you know that. I was totally a sucker for CeeDee Lamb. I think he'll be a star. I can't wait to hate him as a Dallas Cowboy. But I'm glad that we went the way we did with offense, with tackle. It made sense, and the way that we put it together, I understand that not everybody loves Font, and there's some questions with that, but Van Rott and McGovern, they're stepping into the places where they've been consistent, and where I think it was Van Rotten wasn't a starter, or he's been on a couple of different teams, right, in like a CFL team, and he wasn't a starter full-time till last year, but I think they're in the right direction of their career. Font's the only one that I'm a little I don't know. I don't really understand that one 100%. I think you could take that dollars and making a bigger play, towards some of those guys that are out there. But I think you did a great job. I mean, you have to address it somehow, and you can't do it just by signing one guy who's the top guy for a huge amount and then getting nobody else. So, I mean, it's well diversified, at least on the offensive line, the talent they brought in, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely – I mean, if anything, they brought in, like, depth. They have more overall talent there, and that helps. I mean, some of these guys are journeymen. Some of them have a lot to prove. Some got to try to stay healthy, which they haven't done. The fan signing, I still don't understand it, especially at $9 million. It makes no sense to me. But it just doesn't, dude. Like now he's like, I want to play left tackle. We're going to play right tackle. It's just, I don't know. I think the Jets kind of panicked on that one.
And as a journeyman tackle to begin with, just saying, let's just swing him to the right. It's like, well, that's I'm sure that works out a ton. One of the key just core positions in the NFL. And then you have Chuma, which it's like, he was just kind of starting to get his beak wet at left tackle. Well, what's he going to do? Now you have a second year and then a first year. You obviously hope Becton can just step in and, completely separate himself from anybody at left tackle. Yeah. But it's the talent, like I was trying. You said it perfectly. The talent is expanded. The depth was expanded. It's how much talent and what level. I mean, we certainly didn't go leap into the top 10 offensive line in the NFL, but you start with pieces. You know what I mean? I thought Douglas did what he said and what we knew he was going to do, and I can't knock it. I can't hate it. So
that's a true rebuild, to be honest with you, dude. That's what it looks. It's like a rebuild. It's like we were rock bottom last year, and now you're getting like we wanted the big splash signs, but they didn't happen. But now it's like, all right, you're getting pieces to your puzzle. If these guys don't work out, you can get rid of them after a year. They do pan out. You just try to keep them. The problem I have,
it's low risk, high reward. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. But the problem I have is, I mean, the offensive line, we don't know. Like, these guys could be good. They could suck. We don't know. I don't give a shit what people tell me on YouTube and everything else. I don't care about that. But where I have problems is at wide receiver, and it's just, I would have brought Robbie back, but I still wanted more. And Perryman, like, what are your thoughts on Perryman? And what are your thoughts on the drafting of Mims?
So I'll start with Perryman. So, he had a nice statistic year last year. But my God, Jameis launched the ball like he was like starting the opening air attack, invading a new country. The ball was always in the air. He threw 40 touchdowns, 40 picks, didn't he? Somebody's got to catch a touchdown here or there with the ball being in the air that much. So I don't give Perryman the love that some people do statistically. I mean, sure, it was like a 1-year, $4 million deal. Somebody who's got great speed, sure, again, probably playing for another deal. So I was so sad when Robbie left. That was one of my guys. I'm sure it sounds like it was one of yours. It sounded like Robbie wanted to truthfully go play in a new environment with his Temple coach and, having Bridgewater sling it to him. So I kind of saw that one, the writing on the wall with that. But Perryman doesn't do anything for me. It just kind of fills another void, especially with the contract that we have Quincy on. Like, is he even going to play? Or he's not playing this year. But,
nope, he's out.
It's just another – it's more dollars gone, so – but Mims, my God. So when Douglas traded down, my like left side of my neck started to hurt. I thought I was going to die. I'm like, what are you doing? He's right there. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Sometimes my dad always says the phrase, like, avoid the stupid. I'm like, why are we – well, he's right there. But, again, I'm not paid the money and the dollars, and then I'm sitting in my kitchen. I'm not sitting at Florham Park. So Douglas must have known what he was doing, obviously, that he knew that he'd be available. It took a risk-reward. And, I mean, I think that's the steal of the draft. I'm biased. But for sitting where he was, at like 59? Yeah, 59. I mean, that's great. I thought that was the pick. That was the pick of the draft, truthfully, in my opinion.
Now, did you expect them to add more wide receiver, or you think that they're kind of set where they're at now?
No. The wide receiver this year is disappointing. I mean, like I said, you take Ashton Davis, the safety in the third. We take again another Florida guy who hopefully could be James Morgan. I had to Google to be honest with you. And then, you kind of round it out with some, undrafted free agents at wide receiver. I mean, it's just, truthfully for Sam, it's got to be disturbing. I mean, Denzel Mims can have all the talent in the world. He's still a rookie. You know what I mean? So you're gonna flash Perryman out wide, and then and then
that's the thing. I think they have a ton of speed, man. Like that's one thing. Oh, just have speed, but then they have talent. And then, it's funny because like as fans, if we say like, oh, you're negative and you're anti-gay, so I'm like, well, I'm not really, but I'm just trying to say the way I see it. And then it's like today an article came out where Chris Sims and Boomer Esiason and Dan Orlovsky also the same thing. Like, listen, you're basically wasting Sam Darnold's contract, his rookie contract, because you look at other teams like that, and you don't have to look too far. The Buffalo Bills, they're building around Josh Allen, and they're giving him a ton of playmakers all around him, and Sam doesn't have that. And like you got to hope like your guy Herndon really balls out because he could be like the X factor. Because I don't really have a lot of confidence in the guys around him.
No, there's not. There's talent, there's speed, it's great. But again, Sam's got to have time to throw it to him. They got to have some room to make that speed count. And second of all, like you said, people always like say, fellow Jets fans, or you're being pessimistic, whatever. I'm like, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm trying to be a realist here. You need a star. You need somebody who lines up outside that scares somebody. And it's always tough watching like Diggs go to Buffalo and DeAndre, go to the Cardinals, and you see what they do it for it, and you're like, well, did we just make a diligence call? Are we in on that? Do they like does nobody want to trade with us? Or are our picks less worthy than others? You know what I mean? Could you imagine how exciting it would be to watch somebody of that type of Pro Bowl talent outside for Sam? I mean, a real true deal Pro Bowler. Yeah,
but that's like if you look
somebody you have to game plan around. Yeah,
exactly. Like you look at it now, and it's like, what are teams going to do? The same they did last year. They're going to stack the box and try to stop Le'Veon Bell. They're going to try to stop the running game and force the passing game to beat you, which I have a lot of confidence in Sam. But the guys have got to A, get open, and B, catch the ball. And that's where you worry. Like you add a Hopkins or you add a Diggs or you add these other guys. And you're like, all right, then it's like, listen, this guy you got to account for him. Like you got maybe double team him for your ball. Like the trickle down is so far with it, and that's my biggest concern, to be honest with you.
Yeah. For the life of me, I can't really think of his name, and he was a wide receiver for Sam at USC that we cut last year. Do you remember that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
What the hell is his name?
Yeah, I don't know why I can't think of his freaking name.
Oh God, it was number 18. What the hell's his name?
Yeah.
Oh damn it!
I can't think of what his freaking name is.
God. He didn't get signed nowhere. I think he went to the Eagles, and it was his name going nowhere else.
I think he got picked up. But anyways, while I try to think of it, the talent was great. I'm sure it was a little, great, meaning he's not a bum. Obviously he's an NFL wide receiver. He's not a great NFL wide receiver. But then, we cut him, and everyone's like, well, I really thought they had great connection. I'm like, don't you guys get tired of that? Like, that maybe he could have had a 500-yard season and, 3 touchdowns with him? Like, don't people want that star on the outside? Because I always found myself when we cut somebody with, a little bit of glimpse of, oh, that was a good game. You're like, oh, man, maybe that was our star. But in reality, you just got to go get him. I don't know. It's hard when you see Diggs go in the division. You're like, oh, yikes.
So what are your thoughts on Adam Gase, man?
Well, this is a family show, so I'll leave it at that. But
Deontay Burnett, that's his name. That's his name.
Deontay Burnett. Thank you. That's what it was. God, it's gonna piss me off because I knew as soon as we got off the call, I remember who his name. But and I hate, you know what I mean? It's like can't think of it until you walk out the door. But I just think Adam Gase is a freaking stinker. I don't like him. I think he loves the scapegoat mentality, which drives me absolutely nuts. This whole QB whispering thing is insane to me because I think he's been in the NFL for or been a part of teams for 17 years. He's had 4 winning seasons and 4 of them were with a guy by the name of Peyton Manning. You know what I mean? It's just there's no accountability. I think that's the biggest problem. I don't like watching the same repeat. Bowles said nothing. Gase says a lot of nothing, but it's in the sense of it's not his fault. And I don't see it. I mean, I'm sure the guy's a nut and can probably run film and run analytics and do all that crap all the time. But
well, dude, you ever watch
that's
his
what you
interview?
hire.
If you ever watch him do an interview and he just talks his X's and O's, he impresses the shit out of you. You're like, oh my god, like this guy, like he you get into it. Yeah. And then on game day, after the first 15 plays, you're like, what the hell happened to your play calling, dude? Like, where did where the brilliance go? Like, it drives you insane.
And then when you see that Dow Loggins following him around, I just want to, you know what I mean? Don't you just like, I'm not even going to get into it, but just seeing that guy's face standing right next to him, basically carrying his challenge flag, I'm like, what are we doing?
See,
what are we doing?
Would you now? And this is where I get ripped all the time for. It's like, listen, like we talked about, we're worried about the wide receivers. The offensive line could be a little improved, but like you want like a quarterback coach, you want a veteran backup to help Sam. Like all these little things help you get your rookie quarterback, your young quarterback better. And the Jets just don't do it. Like it's all Adam Gase. Like he is the guru, but is he really a guru? Like what the hell has he accomplished? And it's like they don't like. It's just that's my biggest concern. Like there's so much like everybody keeps talking about pressure on Darnold. No, there's pressure on Gase. Because he's got to get all this cleaned up.
Wait, and if you don't mind, I had that jotted down to ask you, where in the hell did this, as the last week, this massive amount of it on Darnold come from? I mean, it's in the beat writer's mouth, but like I'm starting to see it in the fans' mouth. Where did this come from? I thought we were pretty much in agreement that Darnold has ran for his life and done a good job. I've only seen that like the last week.
I don't understand it myself, man. I like, to me, it's like, yes, Darnold has to play better. He's got to improve. He's got to grow, but he's young as shit. So it's like, all right, we understand, but the pressure should be on Gase. Like, play calling. Have your offensive line not be a sieve. I mean, like, they looked dazed and confused for a good part of last year. You know, it's like better play calling, not so predictable. Use your players better. Like, and to me, this is where I'm really biased. I think the Jets leak stories to the media to put more pressure on Sam. Like, you talked about, if you're your scapegoat, they're kind of putting like pressure on Sam to be the scapegoat and taking it off of Gase, where it should be the opposite. Like, I'd love to see an article saying, this is the year that Adam Gase must prove he's a guru. That's it. That should be the article. Simple.
And the thing is, you don't even really have to have any information behind it. Just that should be the headline, and that should be what people agree with. I mean, it's insane to me that, I always think that I argue with one of my buddies when they come at Sam Darnold and all that crap. I'm like, do you remember the year 1997? Do you remember what you were doing? Well, do you remember how old you were? Well, that was the year that Sam Darnold was born. He's a decade younger than you. He's not even 23. Joe Burrow is about to be 25 years old. Baker Mayfield's like 26. It's not this guy's fault. He's a young kid that needs to be coached and needs to be guided by the supposed gurus, but he's guided by a guy who basically would win Madden tournaments because he knows every play and every book and every audible, supposedly, but he's not it's not translating on the field. It's crazy to me that all of a sudden it's on Darnold. It drives me nuts. That's one of the more recent Jets headline stories, whatever, that I see out in the media that I can't. I'm baffled by it.
Drives me insane, dude. So what are your expectations for this team in 2020? What do you think? It's still only end of May. What are your expectations going into the season? Should they compete for the division? Should they, an 8-win team? Like, what are you thinking?
So, I think here's the thing. If everybody stays healthy, which is a narrative I'm tired of starting off with, I think they're a team that can compete for the division. Do I ultimately think they're going to win it? No. I think if Buffalo does what they're supposed to do, that's the team that's going to be able to take it. I understand Bill Belichick's up there and the defense for the Patriots is up there. I'm not running scared anymore. I haven't been for the past few years with the Patriots. You were able to beat them if you could, but we just didn't have the firepower to do it. I think the Jets on paper should be able to compete for it. You look at it last year when everybody knows we never even left the East Coast, and now we're traveling scheduled to travel. Who knows with everything going on how it'll do. Scheduled to travel like some of the most miles in the NFL. We're going to be on the West Coast. We're just going to stay out there, I heard, for like 2 of the games. I think it's the Seahawks game and whoever else will play right after them. Yeah, the Rams. We're at the Rams, Raiders, and Seahawks all back to back to back. So it's going to be tough. I mean, I think you can go from a quick 7-9 team to a 9-7 team if you win those games and don't make those stupid little mistakes like losing to the Dolphins and losing to the Bengals. Teams that were giving them their first win if you just close out those games, if you play 4 quarters of good football. One of the things I think is interesting, though, and I want to kind of bring this up to you, is if you look at the dynamic of how probably football is going to play this year, realistically, I don't think anybody's going to be in the stands. I hope they play, 1. But 2, I don't think anybody's going to be in the stands, is when you go on the road to these games, it takes a big factor out of it. I mean, when you play as Kansas City Chiefs, you play as the Seahawks, and you don't have that stadium and that crowd at home, you know, you're playing the players. It's something to note. I don't think you're going to necessarily win or lose games based on nobody being in the stands. But, you know, some of the home field advantage is taken out of it, and the Jets can just go line up in the X's and O's with some of these guys at these stadiums when people aren't in the stands. You know?
Dude, it's funny. I did an interview with Mark Lee a couple of days ago, and he said the same thing. He's like, dude, like you're gonna go to Kansas City, and just say if they have 10,000 fans in the stands, it's not 80,000. Like all that environment changes a little bit. It's a fair point. Like you don't know what to expect. You know, or the Jets could sleepwalk, and they play like they don't play well on the West Coast. You never know. It's an interesting dynamic. But what would you need to see out of this? Say the Jets only win 6 games or 7 games, but Sam Darnold plays lights out, or let's say they only 5 games. And Sam Darnold plays lights out. Is that enough, in your opinion, to keep Gase because the whole goal is to see Sam and the offense flourish, or do you need to see more wins?
God. See, that's the thing. I would never root against Sam or the team to spite Gase. I think if, let's say, you said if we play like 5 games and everything goes spectacular, is that what you said basically?
Yeah, if they win 5 games, but the offense is playing really well, Sam's playing really well, is that enough for Gase to keep his job?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I guess if the offense is flourishing, Sam Darnold has taken that significant leap where then you know that he's the quarterback of the future. I believe he is, but if you could just shut down that question for a lot of folks and you can see the points being put on the board with the talent that's currently surrounding him and he's able to make the most of it, then yeah, I mean, he's going to stay. I just freaking don't like that guy, but taking a non-biased approach to it, if the team does well and he changes some of his ways that ultimately allows for the team to be better and Darnold to make that next leap, to become that true talent being on display that everybody always likes to talk about, you know, Orlovsky and Romo and all them, then yeah, I think he stays. You know? I mean, there's a lot of what I consider intellectual minds in the NFL that have to see a lot about Sam. Obviously, me and you are big Sam guys. It's just it has to be something where the person around him is continuing to take those steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then launches into, you know, the next level that you're looking for, because I think he's just being held back by some people not guiding him. It's just, you know, he's just running around trying to do the best he can with his pure raw talent, and people need to help him refine it.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. That's my biggest concern. Is you want to see him start getting happy feet and starting getting erratic with the football, and you know, just a lot of things we saw last year are very, very concerning. But we're writing it off to poor O-line play and his injuries and everything else. But this year, you want to see a lot of that go away. They have to, because it's just he can very quickly go down a path that you don't want him to go down. So it's never a dull moment with this team, man. It's like people always ask, where's it like being a Jets fan? Like, it's a friggin' roller coaster every Sunday, every season, every year. It never changes. It's just you never know what to expect with this team.
The beer is always cold. The emotions are always hot and cold. And it's just, I also, for Sam, just taking it out of everybody else's hands and blaming it, last kind of point on that one is, for me, is, you know, you got the mono, then you got the injuries year 1 and stuff like that. I'm tired of the 4-game, 5-game, then it's like, oh, wow, the last 8 games of the year, Sam was the number 1 PFF rated quarterback, whatever. I want to see a 1 through 17, A through Z, you know, just, it was a good year. You're going to have your bad games. You're going to have your stupid passes. I'm not asking him to be, you know, this year's MVP of the league. That'd be nice. But I'm not saying he has to be. But it's just, let's have a complete season. Let's make year 3 a complete season for Sam Darnold. Everything around him is going to happen. The defense is going to do what they're going to do. People are going to stay healthy. But from just a pure quarterback, talent, fundamentals, making the right decisions, let's just see a full year for him. That's what I want to see out of him. You know what I mean? The wins and losses are going to come, not just on his back. So.
No, I completely agree. So an interesting topic always for us is, what are your thoughts on the media coverage of this team, the local media? The national media, they just make fun of us all the time. But what are your thoughts on the coverage from the local media, the like New York, New Jersey media?
It's just it's junk. It's junk for a large part of it because the headlines always have to read to the sass that'll get the non-Jets fans to click on them. If you wrote a true headline that is maybe isn't going to rip off the pages, going to be the number one, cover art letter, cover title, whatever, people won't click on it. But if you write this kind of, satirical, joking, sarcastic headline, somebody's going to click on it. And that's what everything is. Sometimes inside the article there's some pretty good facts, pretty good knowledge, but the local media just wants people to read their stories, which I understand. But it's not unbiased coverage. It's almost more exciting to them when we suck and do something stupid, and ESPN can replay it 100 times, than it is when something goes right and you do a nice X's and O's 4-quarter game against the Cowboys. It almost was like, I use that. I was reading what everyone's saying. They're like, well, Sam could have avoided that interception, and the defense gave up 31 points. Like, you beat the Cowboys at home in a stadium that was probably 60-40, not in favor, and you won a 34-31 game. It's not always going to be a perfect game, but you see that game and no one wrote anything nice, and then you see that Patriots the ghost game, and then you just see that. It's like people had articles out before the game was even done. They were already ready. So I'm not a fan of it. It's not. I don't think it's true unbiased reporting, but.
There's a lot of double standards, man. Even with the Giants now, with DeAndre Baker and this whole case, if that was with the Jets, it's like, oh, they have no discipline, they have no leadership, they have no guidance. What are they doing? It's just the double standards of this team. And sometimes it's warranted. I don't think it is for last. It's just exhausting, man. Like and granted, when you have a quarterback that gets mono, you're like, you can't make this, you can't make it up. But
oh my God,
this coverage, this coverage is insane.
I never got more calls and texts and about the mono thing. I'm like, I don't even have anything to say. I don't have anything to say. That's crazy. So like I said earlier, my dad's a Bengals fan. He gets it. He understands. We confide in some of the misery on certain things. But I'm like, have you heard of that? Has he even heard of a pro athlete getting mono? He's like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's what I said. I'm like, you can't make that up. It's like I said, though, when I was at that Thursday night football game at the down here at the Ravens Stadium, when Sam made that throw, that just absolutely electric, one of the better touchdown throws of the year to Crowder in the corner, that was just completely glossed over. Nobody really cared. It was like, Crowder dropped the easy one, he caught the harder one. I'm like, no, if you actually watch football and break that down, that was incredible. There was nowhere else to throw it. It was like something that Rodgers kind of used to throw to Jordy. You know what I mean? I'm not comparing the two, but those just throws you could watch over 100 times. If anybody else threw that, if Daniel Jones threw that, there'd probably be a fathead somewhere around New York of that, him throwing that ball. It's because it's a Jet and it's Darnold that nobody cares. But
yeah, and that stadium down there, man, is all. I've been there like 4 or 5 times. And that stadium down there, those Ravens fans are awesome, dude. That environment is just, it's electric, it's loud, they're passionate. How do you like the Ravens fans down there?
The majority of them are great. They really are. A lot of my closest buddies are Ravens fans. Here's the thing, though. You can be a chipper fan. You can be excited when you've had those teams and a couple of Super Bowls. Since if you're our age, you've watched all the Ravens Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You've seen these teams, and you get to see that, and it just changes your mindset when you watch the team go out and go 14-2, because you get to see all these wins and bye weeks and stuff like that. They're not. A lot of them are nice. Here's the thing. It's just like anybody. You can't even just blame it on the Ravens fans. You say you're a Jets fan, and the a-hole comes out. It's just the automatic. It's just like I said before. You just got to be on the defense. But to your point, it is a great stadium. It's a fun place. It's a cool place to go tailgate. So I had those tickets real early when I saw them on the schedule.
It's phenomenal, man. We're down in the Inner Harbor, all the seafood and the crab cakes. Down there.
100%. Yeah, man. I've been down here 2009, and I love it because, like you said about the food, it's a lot of hole in the wall places, but they're small businesses that have been around for forever, and they do a few things right, and that's all they advertise, and that's all you need. You know what I mean? They don't try to do too much, and it's good. It's good stuff.
Well, Tim, first of all, I want to thank you for joining me. We started off a little rough because I had all kinds of technical issues over here, so I take blame for that. But thank you for joining me. And what is the best way for everybody to follow you and talk some Jets with you?
Yeah, man. So on Twitter, it's NYJ_91. Instagram, Tim Flaherty, no spaces. I'm always putting up – I pretty much lose a follower a day because I'm always putting up some story on my Instagram about the Jets or whatever. So I don't really care. Screw them. Have fun. We probably haven't talked since high school, so no one's worried about you anyways. But yeah, so I got Twitter purely because of the draft 3 years ago, and it's been a whirlwind since. But yeah, I mean, I love following you guys. I've been listening to you guys forever. I'm always up for a good argument. It's kind of like politics with the Jets. You're probably not going to change my mind, but I'd love to hear what you have to say and tell you why I disagree. So, yeah.
You hit the right group of people, man. We love to argue, so you got us good.
Well, that's why you guys do it well, because you don't have three voices saying the same thing. You blatantly like to advertise when you don't agree, and that's what makes it fun. You got to draw the line in the sand somewhere and see who agrees with who. So.
Yeah, man. Tim, thank you very much for your time. We have to do this again.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy.
No problem. Have a good night, man. All right, Tim Flaherty. That was a lot of fun talking to him. As always, at Talk Jets Radio, Instagram and Twitter. Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube, and we'll talk to you next time.